I was able to take my real estate wholesaling company from ground zero to $2 million in 18 months with just a team of 5 people. In this video, I want to show you how I did it. What's going on, guys? If you are new to this channel, my name is James Hodges, and this channel is all about documenting my best practices in scaling a real estate company from 0 to multiple 7 figures, and the best practices that I have found in scaling to 7 figures as fast as possible, not only for my own business, but helping dozens of clients scale their businesses to 6 figures per month and 7 figures as well. So in this video, I want to show you how I built a multiple 7-figure real estate company with just a team of 5 people. Now, when I started my business, obviously I started by myself and I was hustling, putting in the hours, grinding every day. So when I first started, really, I had a pretty ambitious goal. I had a goal of scaling to $1 million in my first 12 months. And so because I had such an ambitious goal, I knew that I was going to have to seek out help in order to get there. And I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get to $1 million just by myself. I knew I was going to have some team members in place. But when I first started, I had no idea how to build a team. My work experience previously was I was a personal trainer. I had a solo fitness business. I never had any employees before I started my real estate company. And so I had no clue how to actually build a team. And so because I didn't have any idea in how to build a company or build a team, I had to seek out advice. I had to seek out guidance and coaching on how to actually put team members in place, how to compensate them, how to hire them, where to find them, how to manage and lead them, because I didn't have any experience in any of those areas. And so when I first started my business, I was doing all of the work myself. I was driving for dollars. I was putting out bandit signs. I was doing a little bit of PPC, and that's where my first 3 deals came from. And after I closed my first 3 deals, I joined a real estate mastermind. I actually paid $25,000 to join a real estate mastermind after I closed my first 3 deals. Now, that was a huge investment for me at that time. And so the reason why I made that investment, the reason why I invested $25,000 to join this real estate mastermind is because I knew that there were people in that mastermind who were already doing 7 figures in their business. And so because I had this goal of building a $1 million company in a short period of time, I knew that I had to get around other people who were already at that 7-figure level if I was going to be able to build a 7-figure business myself, because I knew how to do a couple of deals, but the way that I was going about getting deals was basically just hustling. I mean, I was putting in the hours, grinding, and I knew that that hustle was not going to get me to 7 figures. So I had to seek out a better solution. I had to seek out other people who were further ahead of me in business that knew strategies that I didn't know, but also that knew how to put together a team and build a team, because I was listening to the podcast of the people who were running this company, and I knew they had a team in place. I knew they weren't doing all of the work themselves in the business. So I sought them out. I paid them a lot of money. I paid $25,000 to get into the mastermind, and it was one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my life. And this really taught me the valuable lesson of investing in coaching and mentorship, because this catapulted my growth journey in my real estate company. So right after I joined this mastermind, I saw the different types of teams that people had inside the mastermind. And right after I joined the mastermind, I hired my first position. And I'm going to take you guys through exactly the type of team members that I put onto the team, which 5 core team members I had that were able to generate, as a team, as a unit, $2 million per year within my first 18 months of my business. And so I joined the mastermind. The first thing that I do right after I join the mastermind is I hire a lead manager, and then gradually I start putting team members in place to where 6 months later, I was completely removed from the frontline operation seats in my business. Now, I made a mistake early on, and I'm sharing this mistake because I want you guys to be able to learn from the lessons that I learned the hard way. And so when I first started building my team, I actually grew my team too quickly. So I actually had more than 5 people at one point, and then I scaled back. And so the reason why I grew too quickly is because I joined the mastermind and I saw all of these different businesses. And if you've ever been in a mastermind, you understand that masterminds are incredible, but it's basically you get to see what all of these people are doing in their businesses, and you're pulling and extracting information from all of these different types of businesses. Well, there were people who were much further ahead of me in the game of business, and they were operating in a way that was good for them in their business at that time, but it wasn't very good for me at the stage of business that I was in. And so what I saw people were doing, they were in multiple different markets, they had really large teams, and so I just emulated what they were doing in their business and copy and pasted it into my business. Well, what ended up happening was I went into 4 different markets within my first 7 months of business. I went into 4 different markets and brought on a team of 14 people, and I had no leadership experience, no management experience, no true business experience before this, and it ended up being a disaster. I ended up getting to a place where I was either going to have to shut down my business or I was going to have to make drastic changes in order to get back to a place where I was healthy from a revenue and profitability standpoint. Because with a team of 14 people, I was only doing about $50,000 a month, which is not very much when you have that much payroll. I mean, we were really breaking even. Sometimes on months we were actually negative, we were in the red. And so it really was a pretty terrible place to be in. And it was a place that I didn't want to continue operating in. And so I had to make drastic changes. And what I ended up doing was actually cutting half of my team within a span of 2 weeks. I cut my team down from 14 people down to a team of 5 people. 5 people on my team. It was 6 people if you included myself as like overseeing the team, but really a team of 5 people outside of myself. And so I'm going to break down what those 5 people were. And what I realized was if we can get the best 5 people who are high performers in the core roles that we need them in, then we can do a lot of revenue. We can do a high revenue number on a monthly basis if we have great people in the core positions that we need them in, covering the core functions of the business. And so what it looked like whenever I scale my team back, and this is, if I had to do it all over, this is how I would initially build out my team. And when I am coaching my real estate clients on how to build their businesses and take their business from $20K per month to $100K per month, this is what the process that I walk them through. So the first team member that I recommend to hire is somebody in the lead generation or marketing department. So we've got marketing. What this can mean is this person is either cold calling or they're texting, but some of you may have automated marketing, meaning you're doing PPC, you're doing Facebook ads, you're doing radio advertising, direct mail. And if you're doing inbound marketing channels like PPC, SEO, direct mail, radio, Facebook ads, then you don't necessarily need a person in here at this stage of the business in the beginning. But if you're doing cold calling, if you're doing SMS, you need to replace yourself on the cold calling and SMS. If you're the one driving for dollars, you want to get to a place where you've closed enough deals to where you can actually outsource this position in the company. And so this is the first position that I would outsource. You want to get to a place where you've got leads coming in every single day without you having to be the one doing the work. And then the next position, and this is the first position that I actually hired, the next position that I hired was a lead manager. So a lead manager is somebody who takes the leads, they qualify the leads, and then they schedule an appointment for whoever is doing the acquisitions for your company. Now, if you are the one in your company right now who is going on seller appointments and you're the one getting properties under contract with homeowners, then the lead manager is going to schedule appointments for you. And so this was the first position that I actually hired in my business. And the reason why I hired this position first is because when I first started off, I joined the mastermind, I started doing a lot of direct mail. And so I had a lot of phone calls coming in that I was taking the phone calls. Now, whenever you are the one doing acquisitions, and I was doing in-person acquisition appointments, I was driving all over creation, going to different houses, going to seller appointments. Now, while I'm driving and I'm going to seller appointments, made it really inefficient to answer incoming phone calls from the marketing department at the same time. And I was trying to take notes in the CRM and it was just a mess. And so I ended up hiring a lead manager first. And so this relieved a ton of pressure for me because now I had leads coming in and I had somebody answering those leads, answering those phone calls, and qualifying those leads and then scheduling an appointment for me. Now I've got leads coming in and I've got appointments being scheduled without me having to do the work. So this was the first person that I hired. And then the next position that I hired was an acquisitions rep. The reason why I hired an acquisition rep first is because acquisitions is a very time-consuming position. And so I had now, at this stage, I had leads coming in and appointments being scheduled. So I had a lead manager in place that was booking a lot of appointments for me. Now the next most time-consuming position in the company was acquisitions. And so I hired an acquisition rep first because that was going to free up the most time for me in the business. And I was actually able to find a really great acquisitions rep. It happened to be my brother at the time, but he was a great acquisition rep and immediately came in and was able to hit the ground running because he's a great salesperson. And so I found an acquisition rep next, and this alleviated so much pressure off of me as the business owner, because as the business owner, you're responsible for the entire company. You're fulfilling all of the roles in the company initially. And so the more time that you can free up on yourself from working in the business, that frees up more time for you as the business owner to work on the business, which was the place that I wanted to get to. I saw all of these people inside the mastermind who were working on their business and who were truly sitting in the business owner seat or the CEO seat of the company, and I wanted to get to that place too. And so the next position that I decided to hire because of that was an acquisition rep. Now, the reason why I was trying to get myself out of the frontline operation seats was because I saw all of these other seven-figure companies, and none of the business owners were actually the ones taking phone calls. None of them were going on seller appointments. None of them were going on or were selling the properties, doing dispositions. None of the seven-figure business owners that I saw were doing the frontline operating position work. None of them were sitting in those frontline seats. So I wanted to remove myself as efficiently as possible. So I got an acquisition rep in there next. The fourth position that I got, dispositions, is the person on a wholesaling organization, inside of a wholesaling organization, that once a seller contract is signed, the dispositions rep is the person who is selling the property to the buyers. The disposition rep finds a buyer for the wholesale deal, and they're the ones going out and selling the deals once a seller contract has been signed with the seller. So the acquisition rep signs the contract with the homeowner. The disposition rep now goes and finds a buyer for that deal, negotiates with the buyer, signs the contract with the buyer, and sells the properties. And so disposition rep was the next person that I got. And so now at this stage, we had leads coming in without me doing the work. We had leads being converted from a lead into an appointment for the acquisition rep without me having to do the work. We had acquisition reps going on appointments with homeowners, signing contracts with the homeowners without me having to do the work. And then dispositions reps who took those acquisition contracts, the seller contracts, the properties that we had with the sellers, and then sold those to the buyers. And so this core team right here is literally getting contracts, selling deals without me as the owner having to do the work. One of the best feelings in the world is the feeling of having contracts being signed, deals being sold without you having to even speak to a seller or speak to a buyer. So this was an incredible place to get to initially. And then the fifth the fifth position that I ended up hiring, and this was like the one of the glue type pieces to the company, is a transaction coordinator. So a transaction coordinator, or a TC, was the last person that filled out this core team. Now, this core team was what was able to get me to around $200,000 per month in the business. And initially, I scaled to a team of 14 people, where I had multiple lead managers, I had multiple acquisition reps, and I had multiple disposition reps inside of the company. And honestly, I scaled too fast, too soon. And so when I scaled my team back, these were the 5 core positions that I ended up keeping. And this team right here, because I had high level people, I had rock star performers in each one of these positions, this team was able to do $200,000 per month at that time in my business. And we were able to do that consistently because I had great people in those positions. Now, we didn't stay this small, and now, my team looks much differently, but just this team was able to get to $2 million per year, and just having a core team of 5 people. Now, the reason why I want to reiterate is because we had high performer employees in each one of those positions, and we trained them really well. We did ongoing training. We had really great management skills and practices. I'll do more training for you guys on this channel about how to lead and manage teams, how to run team meetings. I'll do more training on that in the future, but we put all of these systems in place and great processes and held the team accountable to those processes. And that's what allowed us to do $200,000 plus with just a team of 5 people. And if you're building out your team, if you're in the process of building out your team, I have another video on this channel that shows you the sequence and some of the milestones of how to build that team out, how to get these people in place and what milestones to hit. But this is the core team. This is the core team for a wholesaling company if you want to extract yourself as the business owner from the frontline operating positions as efficiently as possible. And once you're in that place, once you as the owner are removed from the frontline operating positions, now you can scale a lot faster because now you're not the one in the weeds. Now you are able to now manage, and you have, what's so important is you have each person who is responsible for one activity in the business, one primary role within the business, and you've got each person focused on one primary role. You as a business owner, you have the entire business that is your responsibility. So there are several different roles that you're responsible for, whereas if you can get one person, when they wake up in the morning, they have one outcome, one primary responsibility. And for a lead manager, that is scheduling appointments. They have one primary responsibility: schedule as many appointments as possible for the acquisitions team. For your cold callers or your SMS agents, they have one primary responsibility: get as many leads over to the lead manager as possible. Acquisition reps, 8 hours a day, they have one responsibility: go get seller contracts, and that's their sole focus. Dispositions, one sole focus: sell these contracts. Maybe 2 focuses: get more buyers and sell these contracts to those buyers. And then transaction coordinator is the liaison between your company and the seller and the buyer, and the transaction coordinator's job is to get those deals to the closing table as efficiently as possible. And the reason why having these team members in place allows you to run so much faster is because when you have one person focused on one outcome, and that's the only thing that they're focused on for 8 hours a day, they're going to do a much better job than you are in that position when you have all of these other responsibilities to focus on. Because if you devote 8 hours a day just to getting seller contracts, you're going to get more seller contracts than somebody whose attention is scattered and attention is focused on all of these other responsibilities. So guys, that's how I built a $2 million per year company with just a team of 5 people. So if you enjoyed this video, Click the like button, click the subscribe button if you want to see more videos. I'm posting 3 videos per week right now, so if you want to get notified when I post a video, click the subscribe button, click the like button if you enjoyed this video. And if you are looking for help scaling your real estate company to 7 figures and beyond, you can go to reigamechangers.com. I'm also going to post a link in the section down below. So if you want help scaling your business, we're here. We're happy to help you. And again, if you like this video, if you enjoy this content, click the subscribe button, and we'll see you soon.